Hi everyone. Well, what a year. As we prepare for Christmas and the new year, there's so much to reflect on. And when I look back on the work of the Trust, my overwhelming sense is one of pride. Pride in how our hospitals have responded to the events of the year, pride in all that we've achieved, and pride in the care and compassion that we've shown to our patients and to each other. Thank you once again to all of you. We've pulled together so well as one team, and everyone's played such an important part in getting us through. As you know, earlier this year, our hospitals had to be completely redesigned to allow us to treat both COVID and non-COVID patients safely. All staff were impacted by this, from our emergency departments and intensive care units that had to be completely reorganised, to our operating theatres that had to reshape themselves and release so many staff so that the rest of the hospital could cope. Our estates teams have never been so busy, having to undertake so many capital projects, all at breakneck speed. And do you remember the time when all the PPE challenges were dominating the headlines? Our procurement teams worked round the clock with colleagues across the country to ensure that we had sufficient supplies. With everybody following strictly the national guidelines, we never ran out of PPE within this trust. A massive thank you to our amazing supplies and logistic colleagues who worked so hard at this time. The same teams are now grappling with the distribution of large stocks of the new lateral flow tests. And isn't it great that we've now got another weapon in our armoury against this virus? In thinking about managing with COVID, I've got to pay tribute again to our amazing cleaning staff. Never have they been asked to do so much to keep our patients and staff safe. Thank you so much, everyone. Similarly, we need to thank and acknowledge our porters who've kept our hospitals on the move, whatever's been asked of them, and our fantastic catering staff who've kept everybody well fed. Every member of staff on every ward and department has been affected in some way by the changes we've had to introduce. And I know from my visits how hard it's been for teams to be split up as colleagues were deployed elsewhere in response to the first surge. Our teams are so important. We all really value and appreciate the support we provide for each other. And knowing this, I've been really humbled by the bravery and commitment of our staff, who all did what was necessary to maintain services for patients at a time when so little was known about the virus. It's wonderful to see how much better things are now, with much more knowledge about how best to treat COVID, everyone having received more training, and everyone feeling much more confident about the role that they need to play. Despite this, I know that we've all really had enough of this pandemic, and I can't thank you enough for keeping on going at a time when everyone's feeling tired. Some of our most tired staff are those working within our laboratories, and you know that I regularly pay tribute to them as their work is so often hidden. They have done a really brilliant job, constantly innovating, bringing in new technologies to help us expand the testing, which is so essential for all of us to do our jobs. And do you remember the weeks of antibody testing? Brilliantly organised at really short notice, providing vital information at a time when we were all learning about the virus. One thing that we've all really appreciated has been the additional emotional and wellbeing support that's been offered to staff. Hopefully everyone knows now that there's lots of support available, with details on our intranet. On this occasion, I wanted to stop and thank all those who've helped us to set up and provide these offers of support. Our wonderful OD team, our fantastic HR colleagues, and of course leaders within all wards and departments. These are the people who've listened to staff, who understood what was needed and acted on what they heard. A big thank you to you all. COVID has clearly dominated everything in 2020, and people will still be reeling from the news at the weekend that even tighter restrictions are being introduced in parts of the country. We're all disappointed that there'll be less freedoms this Christmas, but given how busy our hospitals are already, we know in our hearts that this is right. So let's enjoy whatever we are allowed to do, and where we can, keep focusing on the positive. There really is light at the end of the tunnel with the rollout of the vaccine, and we really will eventually see an end to this dreadful virus. I'm recording this message on the shortest day of the year, so from now on, each day will get a little longer and a bit brighter. The clocks will go forward at the end of March, and hey, spring will soon be upon us. By then, we should have seen vast numbers of people vaccinated, and we'll be planning many, many celebrations to enjoy in the good weather. So do try to keep going, focusing on the good things ahead of us. We will get through. So at the end of this momentous year, we've finally achieved our merger. and we always knew that would make us stronger going forwards. I'm so glad that in 2020 we finally created the amazing University Hospitals Dorset NHS Foundation Trust. We're going to be working together with our partners to do some incredible things for patients and local people as we recover from the pandemic and take forward our ambitious transformation plans. I'd like to close with a final thank you to you all. As I said at the start, this has been a year like no other, and I'm so grateful to everyone for how you've all responded. I really couldn't be prouder to work with you, especially during these momentous times. It just remains for me to wish you all a very Merry Christmas and a truly wonderful 2021. Thank you again, and please stay safe.